Are you ready?
Roller coaster called crypto.
Flat.
Look at the size of this. Is this worth anything?
If you don't think so, you can give it to me.
Die wissen, wie man lebt.
The Bitcoin blockchain does not need to earn trust. It has transcended trust.
If you had a switch and you could switch the Bitcoin blockchain to proof of stake, would you switch it?
No. So leider haben wir kein Bordell mehr. Das fehlt für eine gute Stadt.
In crypto, there's no bailouts, and a lot of guys try to do that, they fail.
Jumped out of a helicopter, they set my ass on fire, they tried to drown me in a car.
We're not doing anything crazy.
That is the crystal essence of a fraud. A good fraud can fool a lot of people.
I've seen some shit. It's not good.
Hi there. I'm sitting in one of the oldest and most eminent hotels in St. Moritz, the world-famous luxury ski resort in Switzerland. What am I doing here? Well, I came here to understand something that has been fascinating me for years, the world of crypto. Since the invention of Bitcoin in 2008, the blockchain technology and the so-called cryptocurrencies have grown ever more important, and they trigger a lot of emotions. For some, they're a technological revolution that will replace our entire monetary system. For others, it's the biggest and most dangerous Ponzi scheme in history. And then there are those who are primarily interested how to make a lot of money with this stuff. And this film is going to be mostly about those people. And it's no coincidence that I'm in Switzerland right now, because the country has become something like the crypto headquarters of Europe in recent years. And that's why in January we traveled down from Berlin to come here. Although not here, first we went to Zug, another city in Switzerland, which is the core of the Swiss crypto industry.
It's about an hour's drive from Zurich to Zug through beautiful alpine scenery. The only thing that's slightly worrying is that all this should be under a thick blanket of snow at this time of year. But this January is just way too warm.
Zug embraced the crypto hype at a very early date. Already in 2014, the city began marketing itself as Crypto Valley and attracted a bunch of crypto firms. The Ethereum protocol was written here, and global players like Cardano and Monetas also began here. And this is also where Niklas Nikolaisen founded Bitcoin Swiss. Originally from Denmark, Nikolaisen is now one of the richest men in Switzerland. He enjoys doing things like posing for photographs, lighting cigars with money, or driving around in a tank, because he's the only man in Switzerland who is allowed to drive a tank legally on Swiss roads. He also bought a castle called the St. Karlshof, which is over here. This castle is not only relevant for Zug history, but for the history of Switzerland as a whole, because in the chapel here, the Swiss national anthem was composed. Yeah, and now it belongs to him. Now, we would have really liked to show you that tank, but Nikolaisen cancelled us at the last minute. So we're going to meet another pioneer of Crypto Valley, Matthias Ruch, the founder of Crypto Valley Venture Capital.
Matthias' office is housed in a drab high-rise by Zug's central train station. At least on the inside, they're trying to invoke some of the wild crypto spirit.
Hallo Matthias.
Hi, Matthias. Hallo.
Freut mich. Vielen Dank, dass du dir Zeit genommen hast.
Gerne.
Und kannst du vielleicht ein bisschen erzählen, so ein bisschen eine Geschichtsstunde, wie hat das angefangen, warum Zug als Crypto Valley?
Ist ja ein junges Ökosystem, das Crypto Valley. 2013 sind so die ersten Firmen in die Schweiz gekommen, in diesem Bereich, aus den USA. Und dann natürlich Ethereum, die Blockchain der zweiten Generation. Und das hat dann Hunderte, Tausende von Firmen hier nach Zug auch gezogen.
Was ist es, was Zug für Krypto-Unternehmen interessant macht?
Du brauchst natürlich auch Behörden, die das mittragen. Und das war in der Schweiz sehr stark der Fall. Da hatten sich damals 2 Bundesräte, Minister, wenn man so sagen will, für diese Region und diese Idee Crypto Valley öffentlich ausgesprochen. Ich glaube nicht, dass die Behörden wirklich verstanden haben, was da am Entstehen ist. Das war auch schwierig, aber sie haben gesagt, wenn ihr euch an die Regeln hier hält, auch an die Gesetzgebung, dann könnt ihr das hier machen. Spannend war, 2017 hat ja die Stadt Zug öffentlich bekannt gegeben, dass sie Bitcoins als Zahlungsmittel akzeptiert. Ich glaube, das ging um die Welt. Ja. Man mal berechnet, welchen Marketingwert das hatte. Es waren ein paar Dutzend Millionen, wenn ich mich recht erinnere. Also das heißt, jeder hat dann Zug gekannt. Das bringt wahrscheinlich was für die Stadt Zug.
Hast du eigentlich schon mal Steuern in Bitcoin bezahlt?
Nee.
Glaubst du, das machen viele Leute hier?
Nein, ich glaube nicht. Das machen wenige Leute. Von den Zahlen, die ich kenne, machen das wenige.
Wenn du sagst, als Investor, du investierst in Firmen, gibst du denen dann Geld oder Krypto-Geld?
Das ist ja noch spannend, gerade jetzt in diesen Umwälzungen, in diesem Kryptowinter, der aktuell herrscht.
Okay, hold up. One thing to know is that the crypto world is going through an extremely turbulent time right now.
Originally, 2022 had been off to a very strong start. The Bitcoin price had just reached a record high of almost $70,000, and the hype around crypto seemed unstoppable. But the Russian invasion and the global economic crisis also hit the crypto markets, and the price suddenly began to drop rapidly. This, in turn, led to one major crypto project after another going bust. Terra USD in May, 3 Arrows in June, Voyager and Celsius in July. The Bitcoin price had plummeted 70% by July. In total, the crypto crash wiped out $2 trillion in a few months. And then came the worst crash of all. FTX. FTX was one of the largest crypto trading platforms in the world. Its founder, Sam Bankman-Fried, was considered a crypto prodigy and had become incredibly rich. Until it emerged in November that FTX had secretly speculated with its customers' money and lost everything in the crash. $8 billion were suddenly gone. Prosecutors are calling this one of the biggest fraud cases in US history, and all hell breaks loose in the crypto markets. Many call this crypto's Lehman moment, after the bank collapse that eventually triggered the global financial catastrophe of 2008. Well, and that's pretty much the mood in this January 2023.
All right, let's move on.
Wie schätzt du die Lage ein? Kann sich Krypto davon erholen, was jetzt passiert ist?
Ich glaube nicht, dass das ein Lehman Brothers Event war, aber es ist sicher signifikant. Ich glaube schon, dass das die ganze Szene, das ganze Ökosystem 1 Jahr, vielleicht 2 Jahre zurückgesetzt hat.
Okay, jetzt geht's runter, wie der Bitcoin-Kurs.
Matthias Ruch is convinced that Zug's bet on crypto is the right call, even if he himself still uses traditional money in all his deals. But I found it interesting that he doesn't believe that Zug's politicians really understood what crypto actually is before embracing it.
Another thing to know about Zug is that this place has for a long time been very good at attracting money without asking too many questions about it. Today, Zug is the richest state in Switzerland by far. Every 8th citizen here is a millionaire. Historically, it was a very poor region, but after World War II, what they did was they began to lower taxes for individuals, but especially for corporations. This has worked like a charm. So today there are 30,000 registered companies operating out of Zug, and many of them are globally active. And this brings a lot of income, tax income to Zug. But at the same time, this has tended to attract companies that brought a somewhat dubious reputation with them. So most famous is the commodities trader Glencore, which has been accused of exploiting poor countries, tax manipulation, corruption, and environmental destruction. On a more current note, since the Russian invasion of Ukraine, Zug has been getting a lot of uncomfortable questions about how much of Putin's money is actually here. Because not only is the operator of the pipeline Nord Stream 2 located here, but there's a host of other dubious Russian firms. Another fun fact, FIFA President Gianni Infantino, the man who brought the World Cup to Qatar, has also just moved here to save taxes. So as you can see, there are a lot of colorful characters we meet here in Zug, and now the crypto bros are here as well. If that's going to be good for the reputation of the state in the long run remains to be seen. At the same time, they haven't really worried about their reputation that much before.
Not everyone in Zug is enthusiastic about the Crypto Valley branding. Later, I meet Lucian Franzini, who sits on the Zug Cantonal Council for the Green Party. He takes a more skeptical view.
Willkommen in Zug. Danke. Ich glaube, grundsätzlich Blockchain als Technologie ist etwas sehr Spannendes. Auf der anderen Seite birgt natürlich diese ganze Spekulation, diese Kryptowährungen birgen natürlich auch viele Gefahren. Also wir haben einerseits ein ökologisches Problem mit dem ganzen Mining und deren Energieverbrauch. Und auf der anderen Seite haben wir aber auch ein staatspolitisches, volkswirtschaftliches Problem, wenn solche Währungen, die nicht reguliert sind, eine immer größere Rolle spielen. Das birgt die Gefahr von Blasenbildung, das birgt die Gefahr von, dass kleine Anlegerinnen und Anleger ihr gesamtes Erspartes verlieren.
Du hast vorhin erwähnt, der ökologische Fußabdruck von Krypto. Was heißt das genau?
Alleine das Mining von Bitcoins, also das Herstellen dieser Kryptowährung, stößt pro Jahr 65 Megatonnen CO2 aus. Das ist der gleiche Ausstoß, wie beispielsweise ganz Griechenland hat. Auch der Stromverbrauch ist enorm. Und das ist gerade auch in Zeiten der Strommangellage, wie wir sie im Moment kennen in Europa, ist das natürlich nicht etwas, das wir akzeptieren können aus unserer Sicht. Weil gleichzeitig auch der Mehrwert, der Kryptowährungen aktuell bieten, noch sehr gering ist. Man hatte eine Zeit lang die Hoffnung, dass beispielsweise Kryptowährungen gerade auch in Schwellenländern etwas Positives zur Marktentwicklung beitragen können. Diese Ideen, die haben sich nicht bestätigt. Es bleibt vor allem ein Spekulationsobjekt. Die Politik versucht hier wirklich alles zu tun, um solche internationale Firmen und Branchen anzuziehen. Und diese aktive Wirtschaftspolitik hat für die lokale Bevölkerung dann auch viele negative Seiten. Wir haben eine der höchsten Mieten in der Schweiz. Wir haben den geringsten Leerwohnungsbestand und das ist sicher eine Entwicklung, die wir eigentlich seit Jahrzehnten kritisieren. Und wir möchten auch, dass dieser Wirtschaftsboom ein bisschen gelenkt wird, dass vielleicht auch die Sinnfrage gestellt wird, wie viel Wachstum brauchen wir hier und dass man sich wirklich ein bisschen nachhaltiger hier auch orientiert.
Yes. Ja, okay, vielen Dank. The conversations in Zug have given me a lot to think about. So much, in fact, that we go down to the lake again to take shots of me thinking about it. But then it's time to go. We still have a long drive ahead of us. We have learned that Switzerland's ultimate crypto event takes place in January, the Crypto Finance Conference in St. Moritz. This is where the high rollers of the crypto world meet every year. So we head up to the cold, cold mountains of the Engadine. At 1,822 meters above sea level, St. Moritz rarely has to worry about snow. But even here, it's too warm. The lake, usually the setting of at least half of the town's life at this time of year, is still closed to the public. The ice isn't thick enough. But we're not here for the ice skating anyway. Today is the start of the CFC. Since 2018, the conference is always taking place here, Suvretta House, the most venerable hotel in a town teeming with luxury hotels.
One really exciting thing that's happened, at the last moment the conference announced a very interesting new speaker. Changepen Zhao, or CZ, is the billionaire founder of Binance, the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange. Now, since the fall of FTX, there's a lot of speculation that Binance might be next, because customers have lost so much trust in these exchanges. So, like with Sam Bankman-Fried in prison now, CZ is the undisputed top dog of crypto. At the same time, people think he might be sitting on a ticking time bomb, and that's why I really want to interview him.
This conference is not for the average crypto fan. A ticket costs between 5,000 and 8,000 Swiss francs, and even then you have to apply. Only 250 guests are admitted. Big investors, fund managers, bankers. And now, us.
Super, danke sehr. Also ich habe jetzt hier ein Badge gekriegt und mit so einem Chip-Laser-Ding hinten drin. Okay, probieren wir es mal aus. Sehr schönes Gebäude.
Nice place, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's a very nice place. Yes.
On a normal day, one would expect a smattering of German industrialists, Italian automobile heirs, and a Russian prince or two. Instead, there's crypto people everywhere.
Ja, die haben den Laden hier ziemlich übernommen. Es sind überall CFC-Leute um mich rum.
And then they sound the internationally recognized signal that a blockchain conference is about to start. A cowbell. We flock to the conference room where it finally kicks off.
In a world of growing complexity, we are facing profound changes in resource management and infrastructure. Now, more than ever, getting together in person, sharing insights, ideas, and opinions, and taking time to recalibrate is essential. Welcome home to the CFC St. Moritz.
Woo! Are you ready? Good. What an agenda we have for you. But before that...
First, there's a welcome from the conference's CEO.
A very warm welcome to all of you to the CFC St. Moritz 2023. We believe that people have to meet and exchange in person, physically, especially as the world gets increasingly digital. And that's what's going to happen throughout the next 3 days.
And then from the mayor of St. Moritz, who brought his own flag bearer and an assignment for the guests.
Since you seem to be the world elite on cryptocurrencies, it will be your job to explain to the rest of us what those currencies and the technology behind can do for us. I'm looking forward to seeing you all again next year. Have fun. Flag. Thank you.
And finally, the headliner takes the stage. Binance founder Changepen Zhao, or CZ.
Good. CZ Bamnia, welcome here to St. Moritz.
Thank you.
And the first question to you is about snowboarding, as we heard from Eric. So you have been here since Sunday. Have you been snowboarding?
Yeah. So actually Sunday the snow conditions were okay. Yesterday was beautiful. Yesterday was probably the best snow.
While CZ is going on about snowboarding, a little bit of context. This man was a key player in the fall of FTX, when on November 6th he announced on Twitter that Binance would be liquidating all of its FTT tokens, that's FTX's house currency, at once. It triggered a vicious price crash that ultimately toppled FTX.
With FTX gone, huge player, we could see Binance become dominant. That's one aspect of it. That's not good for anybody.
But CZ has little reason to gloat. Since then, users have also withdrawn billions of dollars from Binance. The skepticism towards the exchange also has to do with the fact that no one knows where its parent company is actually based. CZ simply refuses to reveal that.
Most regulators will expect you to have an office with what you call a headquarters, and then a certain type of company registration, certain type of structure for your compensation. All of that is no longer necessary. Like, our business is solid. We have all the customer assets verified on the blockchain. Our business is profitable. We're doing the right things by our users. We're not doing anything crazy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sure.
Nice. Thank you.
Nach seinem Vortrag hätte CZ jetzt hier eigentlich noch Fragen beantworten sollen. Er hat sich aber direkt verdrückt. Ich versuche ihn jetzt nochmal in der Halle abzupassen. gerade hier in den Aufzug mit seinem Bodyguard. Er ist gerade reingegangen und ich habe ihn nicht mehr erwischt. Schade. Schade.
Instead, I managed to catch the mayor.
Meine erste Frage ist, sind Sie mit dem Wetter zufrieden? Ist es genug Schnee?
Nein, das ist zu wenig, aber ist auch wurscht, auch genug.
Und jetzt zu der Konferenz hier. Wie sind Ihre Erfahrungen damit?
Es ist toll, dass solche Konferenzen bei uns überhaupt stattfinden und das sind ja eigentlich eine Art Pioniertaten. Das ist ja, ich nehme an, die meisten, ja, die in Kryptohandel tätig sind, wissen gleich wenig wie die anderen drüber. Das ist ja das Tolle am Ganzen, großes Chaos. Aber hier habe ich ein bisschen das Gefühl, dass die totalen Nerds da sind. Und das ist dementsprechend eigentlich ein wissenschaftlicher Kongress. Und das finde ich verdammt spannend und toll, dass wir hier Gastgeber sein dürfen.
Und ich meine, wie gehen Sie damit um? Es gibt ja auch Leute, die sagen, das ist ein riesen Casino und im Grunde Glücksspiel und hat sonst nicht viel mit der echt mehr zu tun.
Es ist also, wir haben auch ein Casino. Leider haben wir kein Bordell mehr, das fehlt für eine gute Stadt. Aber Casino passt zu St. Moritz.
Das ist ein sehr schönes Schluss.
Würde ich auch meinen, ja.
After that, it's back to the main room to listen to more panels. Panels on deregulation, stablecoins, decentralized finance, regenerative finance and prime finance. At least all this talking is regularly interrupted by amazing food to fuel all this intense thinking and networking. But we're not here to watch the crypto people have a good time. We really want to understand what they're doing here. And that's why we've arranged interviews with the most interesting specimens.
Yeah. Hi, Milton.
Hello.
How are you doing? Hi, Mr. Voorhees.
Hello.
Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
All right. Hi, can I call you? How are you? Mr. Tai. Can you tell us just really quickly, like, who you are, what you do? You work for Power Ledger.
Yes, I'm co-founder and
co-founder,
the executive
okay.
chairman.
To break the ice, I start by asking those people who lost a lot of money in the FTX crash how that felt.
How did you feel when the FTX thing happened? I mean, because I know it's like publicly available that you guys lost a lot of money, and how was that morning?
Yeah, it was not great. I think, like many people, feel betrayed and feel like that was a violation of trust. But again, we're in the business of taking risk to generate return. And so this is one of the risks, unfortunately, that comes with operating in this industry.
You just mentioned FTX, so I really want to talk to you about that.
Yeah, of course.
You were quite close to it, right?
I was very close to it, had a good relationship with Sam. See, I'm not like one of these guys that revises history. I'm not going to pretend that I didn't have a good relationship with Sam or his dad or the people at FTX. Anybody that was affected or was a victim of the fraud, we revise history. Oh, that person was stupid to be in Madoff, or that person was stupid to have their money on FTX's exchange, or they were stupid to have a relationship with them. But that is the crystal essence of a fraud. A good fraud can fool a lot of people. I believed the guy, and I traveled in the Middle East with him. I introduced him to some friends of mine that I had decades-long relationships with. Fast forward to 2022, November the 8th, I'm in the Bahamas with Sam and his dad and learning about this catastrophic situation. And it was very disappointing to have that sort of a breach of trust. The money is one thing. You can make the money back. I have had, ups and downs in my career, but I've done reasonably well in terms of making money. But it's the trust and it's the relationship that's more valuable to a person like me. It's sad. He's a very bright person. The great irony is that if we didn't catch him, he'd probably be here. You'd probably be interviewing him. That's the great irony of the whole thing.
Okay, another little break. You've probably been able to keep up so far. But in order to follow what's coming, we'll have to do a little theory. And we'll start with one of my favorite buzzwords at this conference: trust.
Trust cannot be bought. It has to be built. It has to be gained.
Trust needs touch.
We're still humans, right? So we still have to trust each other.
To build trust. Now and for the future.
The weird thing is, a crypto conference is the one place where trust really shouldn't matter. The blockchain was invented to make trust obsolete. That was the basic idea of Satoshi Nakamoto, the mysterious inventor of Bitcoin. He came up with a way to execute transactions securely without having to trust a central authority, in theory. When I say in theory, I don't mean to say that it doesn't work, because it works. The only problem is, most people, even in the crypto world, don't use it that way, because in reality, it's really, really cumbersome and slow. That's true even if you want to just buy some crypto. For that, most people go to so-called exchanges, FTX, Binance, Kraken. You go to these places, you upload your passport, you open an account, you send them some real money, and then you can buy cryptocurrencies directly on the exchange. The only problem is, those places are once again centralized authorities that you have to trust. These exchanges manage an ungodly amount of money for their clients, just like banks. The difference being, they don't have to follow the same rules as banks. And that's where accidents happen, like FTX. And that is one of the reasons why the people at this conference talk about trust so much. And I wanted to ask them, what does trust mean to you?
What does trust mean for you in crypto?
Well, trust means everything. Like, it's kind of this invisible ingredient that you don't even know exists until it doesn't.
Trust comes in many forms. There's mathematical trust, there's kind of person-to-person trust.
So trust is relevant when humans are involved. And in traditional finance, everything is done by humans. So you have to trust everything. With blockchains and cryptocurrencies, there's no people involved in the operation of the chains themselves. So you can know with mathematical certainty that something is trustworthy. So like the Bitcoin blockchain does not need to earn trust. It is beyond trust. It has transcended trust.
Even though they said crypto, you know, it's so neat, we don't need to trust banks anymore, it's amazing, I can just send it directly to you, but nobody does that, right? They go to an exchange, they send their money there, and they leave it there because they trust the exchange. So it just seems like they kind of rebuilt the exact same system, but with just...
I think that's because people were used to that. But I think there is a mechanism to basically deal with it yourself off of your own hardware wallet. But you have to remember your passwords and things like that. So some people don't trust themselves to remember their passwords, and so they worry that, oh well, if I can't remember my own password, how do I do a reset if I'm the systems administrator? So I'd rather rely on an exchange because that's their job.
Yeah.
But those are centralized entities sitting on top of the decentralized backbone, so it's kind of defeating the point in a way.
When people hear about big blow-ups in the crypto industry, it's never because like the Bitcoin blockchain broke or someone's balance disappeared. It's because some human running some central intermediary that looks more like a bank than a crypto blockchain did something stupid or reckless or fraudulent. And so that distinction is an important one.
You're always going to have an element of centralization because you take your Bitcoin, you put it in a cold storage wallet, you're trusting the software to get it out of the cold storage wallet into the transactional activity, transferring it into fiat currency or whatever you're going to transfer it into. And look, I mean, let's face it, okay, we're human beings. We generally don't like each other. We generally don't trust each other. That's why we have third parties.
Don't trust, verify.
Right. But do you think that's how it works in practice? Because up there, a lot of people are talking about
That's
trust.
not how it works in practice, no. What I think is compelling is don't trust, verify is not something that's forced on people, and not everyone's going to adopt it maybe in the near term. The objective is always to give people a broad range of choices so they can choose how they want to engage, what level of risk they want to have, and who they want to trust.
Right,
I myself am skeptical.
Yeah, fair enough.
I've seen some shit. It's not good. I've seen too much.
Okay, this might sound a little strange after everything we've seen here so far, but originally a lot of people thought that crypto was a genius way of giving the finger to the corrupt elites. The global financial crisis in 2008 pretty much destroyed trust in governments and banks. And it's then that Satoshi invents the Bitcoin. A beautiful machine and a libertarian utopia. Everyone is lord of their own money. Banks and governments have nothing to say in it. And even those people who wouldn't normally get access to a bank account can now participate. Satoshi's children dance, and uninhibited and free, they can send each other money. It's beautiful. It turned out a little differently. Bitcoin doesn't really work as a currency, and it still doesn't work as an inflation hedge. So why is it so popular? Because it's amazing for speculation. The very early adopters suddenly found themselves filthy rich, and that attracted an army of gamblers and grifters looking for a quick buck. And on the heels of the Reddit bros, they came slinking back. The bankers and asset managers trying to leverage crypto to make their rich clients even richer. The result? Today, 0.01% of users control 27% of all Bitcoin on the planet. That's a bigger inequality than with the US dollar. And that's why I wanted to ask the people here, do you really think you're doing it for the little guy?
So, I mean, this is an event that brings together crypto people and like traditional finance people.
Yeah.
And most of the latter are not exactly, let's say, aligned with the ideals of cryptocurrency.
Companies like BlackRock, for example, and major pension funds hold Bitcoin and invest in these companies. So they hold these assets and people's pension funds are invested in them.
You know, they come from the normal business world and they might see cryptocurrency as like a business opportunity instead of as a revolution. So I try to remind them that it's actually a revolution.
Yeah, I mean, but some people could say, you know, Bitcoin has been around for a long time now. Now we don't really like see, like, I mean, for normal people, it's hard to see the societal value. And people could say they're burning a lot of energy just so the Winklevoss brothers can be richer than they were before, you know?
I think anyone who's living in this inflationary environment right now and losing like all this money every year, if they still don't understand why Bitcoin's important, then I can't help them. You know, like it's a form of money that can't be debased by government. Right. So you either have an opinion that that's a useful invention or not. When Bitcoin emerged, it was the first real alternative that people had to fiat money. And most people don't really know what fiat money even means because they've grown up using government money. They think money means like a piece of paper with a dead person's face on it.
So I've got some different colored money here, okay? Let's go to the American money. Okay, so here in my neighborhood, these are Italian singles. You see those?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so what is
Italian
this?
singles.
These are Italian singles, right? George Washington on the regular dollar, but Ben Franklin on an Italian single. Okay, it's a little bit of a joke, but just bear with me, okay?
Yeah.
This is cotton, 75% cotton. It's 25% linen. Look at the size of this. Is this worth anything? Is it worth anything?
If you don't think so, you can give it to me.
Yeah, see, but you think it's worth something, and I think it's worth something because we trust it.
Yeah.
Fabric, okay, but we've decided that it's worth something,
Yeah.
okay? Now, the government used to back it by gold. That made it, at least us, think it was worth more. 1971, we took it off the gold standard, and we're devaluing it. And then we're making it tough on people, especially people that are working. Let's say I'm a middle class or lower middle class worker, you're stealing from me. So if I make $20 an hour, and that's all I've got, and you give me the $20, but the government's running 8% inflation, you crush me.
The anchoring vision has always been what Bitcoin was about in its early days. This idea that we can operate decentralized, permissionless financial infrastructure, and that anyone, anywhere can participate in this network, and it can't be censored. It's not owned by a state, it's not owned by a government, it's not owned by an entity. I think that's the concept that's always been so powerful and so exciting.
I admit, that was a lot of theory. To retain your attention, we're going to show you something completely different. The night skiing on the Korvac mountain, to which the conference invited all participants, and us.
Die wissen, wie man lebt.
Afterwards, there's a fondue dinner on the mountain. Have I mentioned that this conference was impeccably organized? It was impeccably organized.
Also es ist natürlich krass schön, hier oben zu sein bei Nacht. Das Einzige, was es so ein bisschen schmälert, ist, dass es hier auch einen Gletscher gibt, den Kovac. Und der war in den Medien ein bisschen letztes Jahr, weil er so stark geschmolzen ist, 2022, dass der jetzt gar nicht mehr vermessen werden kann. Also die Glaziologen haben einfach nur noch ihre Messgeräte mitnehmen können. Und das war's dann eigentlich mit dem Kovac.
Which is the perfect transition to our next topic. Okay, this is the most important part. If you understand this part, you understand crypto. Because the main problem that Satoshi had to solve was how to transfer digital values safely, without having to trust a central authority. I'll give you an example. This is a 5 franc coin. I'm going to put it right here. Now, what you guys are seeing isn't my coin, but a digital image of it. Just a bunch of pixels. Which means that in post, we can do this. And we can also copy and paste it. You can do that with all digital stuff, including Bitcoin. So to prevent someone from sending the same coin twice, Satoshi came up with the network. First, you need a database, the ledger. And in that database, you record every transaction, every coin's journey. And then a bunch of computers have to confirm that transaction. That is the consensus mechanism. But even that only works if no single actor can ever take over more than half of the computers in the network. Because then she could just change the ledger and send all the bitcoins to herself. To prevent this, Satoshi invented mining. Bitcoin Explainer articles will often claim that miners perform complicated calculations. That's nonsense. It's way more brutish than that. What they really do is, all the computers in the mining network will just throw numbers into a hashing algorithm that basically just scrambles them and generates a new set of numbers. Okay, so let's imagine something else. Imagine that I'm the mining server, and imagine that this dice doesn't have 6, but a couple of billion faces. My goal is to roll a number with 19 zeros at the beginning. The Bitcoin code demands it. The probability for that happening is tiny. So I have to roll this dice a couple of million times a second. But I'm not the only one doing it. Thousands of mining servers around the world are all rolling the dice at the same time. And the first to roll a number with 19 zeros at the beginning wins. They get to enter the transaction in the ledger, and then they get paid in Bitcoin. At which point the race immediately restarts. All the other servers' throws are wasted. But those gazillions of attempts consume an enormous amount of energy, actual electricity. And that is the point. That way you can ensure that no single person can afford to run enough servers to outvote everybody else. You'd be forgiven for seeing this as a colossal waste of energy. With their redundant calculations, Bitcoin miners now burn 2.5 times as much energy as the entire country of Switzerland. In 2022 alone, they emitted 48 million tons of CO2. That is why many other blockchains have replaced proof of work with another consensus system, proof of stake. It's a completely different mechanism, and it needs a fraction of the energy. The Ethereum blockchain, for example, switched to proof of stake in 2022. And in theory, Bitcoin could do that too. But in practice, it's never going to happen. And many Bitcoin fans don't even want it to happen. And I wanted to ask them why.
Do you ever worry about like the ecological impact of like the mining?
Yeah. Yes and no. I mean, I think like all other industries, Bitcoin is going through its own learning curve. I do think proof of work is incredibly valuable because it anchors Bitcoin, the network, to the reality of the physical world that we live in. And so the fact that it leverages the laws of thermodynamics, right? You have to expend energy to secure money. I think that's incredibly powerful. Now, are there ways to make that more productive to society? Absolutely.
I say good things use energy, right? Like all good things use energy. We're sitting here filming this with bright lights and cameras, and we're gonna like upload it to the internet, and like the internet uses incredible amounts of electricity. With Bitcoin, is it right to use energy to create a sound system of money for the entire globe? In my opinion, that's like one of the most important inventions that we could have. So yes, it uses a lot of electricity to do so, and yes, I think that's a valid use of the electricity.
At the end of the day, I do think proof of work and the ability to use physics and the laws of the physical world to secure a digital network is an incredibly valuable way to keep Bitcoin secure. And that's something that, again, no other protocol has. So that continues to be exciting to me. I'm an energy nerd.
I think Bitcoin mining is like quite maligned. And I don't think there's like a full appreciation for what mining services actually provide for the grid. For example, Bitcoin miners help with balancing supply and demand on the grid. So the grid pay Bitcoin miners to turn off and on Bitcoin mining.
What you and your colleagues were saying is like mining is actually good. We put them close to the power sources, and then any excess gets like.
Well, I wouldn't say absolutely mining is good, but I think that but I think that it can provide a lot more than is understood, and also a lot more than it kind of takes. You know, in the sense of that it uses energy.
I think what's happening today now is people are conflating this. Oh my God, burning a lot of energy has to be bad for climate. And that's actually not true, you know, but I think to the extent that you can leverage the consumption of the industry to drive positive economic forces to get us to the next generation of energy production, unless somebody creates the demand to put up those fixed assets, it ain't gonna happen.
But there will be demand for energy. Like, demand for energy is growing constantly without Bitcoin mining, right? Like,
but you gotta accelerate it.
Okay, so just to summarize this simply, you say that Bitcoin mining is actually good because it's going to incentivize. It's going to incentivize green energy production.
Yeah. Now that's not to say that every single Bitcoin miner is a shining star in environment. You know, because there's still a lot of people in some countries that are burning coal in Asia, and so not just Asia, like some in America too, which morally I am against. I don't like the idea of polluting the sky just to run electricity to make some Bitcoins. That's just, it's perverse.
Yeah. So why not just say, Bitcoin was a great innovation, it was a great invention, but proof of work was a great invention, but it's just not viable anymore, and we just all move to proof of stake, like Ethereum has done, like all of this.
It is theoretically possible, but like any other thing that has a human element that requires group decision making, you got to get everybody to agree. Everyone would have to agree and stop using it at the same time. So I just think it's not possible.
So let me put it like this. If you had to switch and you could switch the Bitcoin blockchain to proof of stake, would you switch it?
No.
And there you have it.
Thank
So
you.
we've learned quite a lot about crypto, except the main thing. How does one become as successful as these people? That's why we've added on a bonus question.
Do you have a morning workout routine? And what is it?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I try to just go running whenever I can, and then get to the gym a couple times a week. Nothing fancy, but just be active. Yeah.
I'm up in the morning, 5:30 every morning. I have a trainer that I FaceTime. I'm in the gym for 90 minutes, 5 days a week.
My morning workout routine is I wake up and I stare at the ceiling and experience existential dread for about 15 minutes. And I have a slight panic attack, and then I get out of bed and I'm ready for my day.
I normally in the morning will have a bulletproof coffee, which is like a double.
You put butter in it or something?
Yeah, you can put butter or MCT coconut oil in. So you blend that. Yeah.
Does it taste good?
It tastes delicious. Yeah, it's really excellent. I love it.
Yeah.
Did you hear a rumor about this or something?
I've been asking everyone because everyone has really interesting.
Well, okay, I know this is going to sound like ridiculous. So I usually do not have breakfast. I have black tea or some variant of black tea. I'll do a set of 500 sit-ups, and then 50 push-ups, 100 reverse sit-ups, 50 push-ups, 100 reverse sit-ups, 500 sit-ups, 50 push-ups, 100 reverse, 50 push-ups, 100 reverse, and then I'll run 5 miles.
I'm speechless. Speechless. That's mad.
That's my daily routine, yes.
Oh my God. You yeah, okay.
How does your body not just explode? I mean, that's
You know what? I think it keeps you incredibly young.
Seems to be working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you know, I mean, the body requires stress to regenerate. Right?
No, there's stress and there's like dropping a nuclear bomb on your body every morning, right? Like.
I'm 59 years old. I just did Celebrity Special Forces, the reality show, and
You jumped out of a helicopter.
Jumped out of a helicopter. They set my ass on fire. Of course, I looked at the camera and said, I've been fired before, but never like this. They tried to drown me in a car. I was the oldest person on the track. I was out there with Olympians. But, look, I'm having a good time. You got to enjoy your life, man. You only visit in this planet, man. Enjoy your life.
The man is right, and I'm in the perfect place to follow his advice. Like I said, the organizers of the conference really go above and beyond to ensure that the assembled millionaires, billionaires, and managers are having a great time. One night, a shuttle takes us from one luxury hotel to another for an Italian networking dinner. Maybe here I'll finally get to meet CZ. Unfortunately, we are not allowed to film at the dinner. And when I do spot CZ at the reception, he's already surrounded by a throng of superfans. When I finally get to him, he has absolutely no interest in being interviewed. The only thing I get is this awful selfie with him. Maybe I can sell that as an NFT? What a week. We've met a lot of people who are really passionate about crypto and especially Bitcoin. But in this exceptionally warm January, it was hard not to keep thinking about the climate crisis and the energy crisis. Can we really afford to burn all this energy for a digital currency? I guess the answer depends on whether you believe in Bitcoin or not. But no matter what form the money of the future will take, in Switzerland it will always be welcomed with open arms. What are crypto dick butts?
What are crypto dick butts?
Yeah.
Crypto dick butts are a way of life. Okay. I am my dick butt, and my dick butt is me. And then mythology, I started building mythology around crypto dick butts. So I'm the high priestess of Gooch Island, which is the ancestral home of the crypto dick butts.
I see.
I don't know how many times you've had someone say gooch to you in an interview.
Yeah, I haven't had many people say dick butt to me once, but
well, here we are. What a world we live in.
Yeah, it's
all made
exciting.
possible by the blockchain.